Jake Rockwell, rugged land operations specialist.
The 80s have given us some gems of series that even the future generations remain nostalgic about, and big companies keep rebooting for a modern audience. Starting from She-Ra, Princess of Power, DuckTales, Strawberry Shortcake, The Charlie Brown and Snoopy Show, to Garfield and Friends, there was no stopping the amazing cartoons that were made. So today, for the uninitiated, we bring you a list of 20 cartoons that may have gotten missed by your 80s nostalgic radar. But before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Denver, The Last Dinosaur, 1988 to 1990. Following the release of the 1988 film The Land Before Time, a boom in the popularity of dinosaurs led to the creation of Denver, The Last Dinosaur series. With a name as obvious as it can be, this 80s animated series followed the adventures of Denver, a green Corythosaurus, who was found inside an egg by a group of California teens, Jeremy, Mario, Shades, and Wally. Despite being the last of his kind born into the modern world, Denver was well-versed in English and also picked up some fine skateboarding and guitar playing skills, along with being able to participate in the teens' other pastimes. The series primarily focused on the teens trying their best to keep Denver's existence a secret, protecting him from the clutches of the manager Morton Fizback, and later from a scientist named Professor Funt, both of them trying to exploit Denver to gain money and fame. Alongside this, Denver also took the teenagers on time-traveling adventures to the age of dinosaurs using a piece of his egg's shell. The series ran for a total of 50 episodes, making up 2 seasons, and gained a lot of praise for its themes revolving around conservation, ecology, and greed. With its corny jokes and heart-wrenching episodic adventures, the series gained immense popularity with a recommendation from the National Education Association, and even a reboot was made in 2018.
I'm really glad we have you along to help us.
Ewoks, 1985 to 1986. Did the name ring any bells for the Star Wars fans? Yes, you guessed correctly. Ewoks was an animated series focused on the characters that were introduced in the 1983 Star Wars Episode 6, Return of the Jedi. These creatures were also given further importance in the 2 television Star Wars films, Caravan of Courage, an Ewok adventure in 1984, and Ewoks: The Battle for Endor in 1985. The animated series instead decided to focus on the adventures of Ewoks before they appeared in Return of the Jedi. Following the youngest member of the Warwick family of the Ewok tribe, the animated series was primarily about the adventures of Wicket Wystri Warwick and his friends on the forest moon of Endor. The series' most notable villain was Morag the Tolga Witch, who bore a personal grudge against the Ewok tribe's shaman, Master Logray, along with the Duloks, a rival species of the Ewoks. Despite the series lasting for a total of 35 episodes and 2 seasons, the story had little to no bearing on the plot of the mainline Star Wars movies. However, this series managed to tie into the 3rd Star Wars movie with the help of the 12th episode of the season, Battle for the Sun Star. This episode was also re-aired during the initial broadcast to be the series finale, showing the heroes departing the surface of the forest moon as they got inside an Imperial Star Destroyer that had appeared in their system. Here, an Imperial scientist also made an effort to destroy Emperor Palpatine. This tied in directly to the setup of Return of the Jedi, where Endor was being used as the base of operations for the second Death Star by the Empire. With the series being available through streaming for the hardcore fans who intend to cover everything related to Star Wars, or just got curious regarding the Ewoks tribe after watching the original trilogy, this series gives one of the best chances to experience the Ewoks world.
Ulysses,
You will undergo many trials before you are reunited with your
Ulysses 31, 1981 to 1982. The 80s had pretty much something for everyone, and for Greek mythology lovers, there was Ulysses 31, a French-Japanese production that updated the classic tale of Ulysses, setting it in the 31st century as the name of the series suggested. In the series, Ulysses was a captain of a spaceship named Odysseus that was operated using a central computer called Shirka. On his son Telemachus' 12th birthday, Ulysses took him to space for the very first time, only for tragedy to strike. Telemachus was kidnapped by aliens to be the child sacrifice for their god, Cyclops, who, unbeknownst to them, was actually just a giant robot instead of a god. Ulysses was able to save Telemachus along with two other kids, a little girl named Yumi as well as her older brother, Numenor. Ulysses, though, ended up getting punished for his interruption by Zeus, who froze the majority of Ulysses' crew, including Numenor, along with erasing the information of how they could return to Earth from Shirka's memory. The only way to go back home and revive the crew, as well as Numenor, would be to find the Kingdom of Hades. This leads to adventures paralleling those of his ancestor, the ancient Greek Ulysses, although in a more science fiction setting as they encounter new versions of various Greek gods. Running for a limited number of 26 episodes, the series mixed Greek mythology with 80s sci-fi anime visuals, a great musical score, and a catchy theme song. For anyone interested in seeing a new take on Ulysses, or just wanting to be introduced to Greek mythology altogether, this series stands as a great starting point. Centurions, 1986. Another 80s animated series that was set in the then near future of the 21st century was the Centurions, a team of 3 men consisting of Max Ray, the brilliant sea operations commander, Jake Rockwell, the rugged land operations specialist, and Ace McCloud, the daring air operations expert, dressed in specially created exoframes that allowed them to fuse with powerful assault weapon systems upon shouting the phrase, "Power Extreme." The series called this to be a mix of man and machine power extreme. The Centurions would use their power to fight against a mad scientist, as well as a cyborg named Doc Terror, his cyborg companion, Hacker, and his army of robots as they try their best to conquer Earth and turn the humans into robot slaves. The Centurions operated from the space station, Skyvault, which was handled by Crystal Kane. Crystal helped the team by suggesting fight tactics and also teleported the Centurions to their mission location, along with sending them weapons as per their need. Also helping the team occasionally would be Jake Rockwell's dog, Shadow, who wore a harness with dual missile launchers. Later, 2 additional members also joined the Centurions, Rex Charger, the expert energy programmer, and John Thunder, the specialist infiltration commander. Other well-known superheroes at the time from different shows also made appearances to help the team, such as the Samurai, Black Vulcan, El Dorado, and Apache Chief. Initially starting its run as a 5-part miniseries, the show went on for an additional 60 episodes. The Centurions hit you with the perfect action-adventure nostalgia from the 80s with its colorful characters, cheesy dialogues, and mostly kid-friendly action. Brave Star, 1987 to 1988. The 80s cartoons had an obsession with distant futures mixed with another theme, which brings us to another entry in the list set in the 23rd century. Bringing together the genres of sci-fi with Western, Brave Star took place on a multicultural desert planet called New Texas. The planet was located almost 2,000 light-years away from Earth, orbiting 3 suns. The series followed its titular character, Marshall Bravestar, a Native American galactic marshal who used the spirit of different animals to gain supernatural abilities. This included the eyes of the hawk, ears of the wolf, strength of the bear, and speed of the puma. Bravestar would use these powers to protect the peace of the inhabitants of New Texas with the help of his sidekick, 3030, a bipedal horse and also a chief deputy. Some of Bravestar's most threatening villains were the Carrion Bunch Gang, the Dune Buggy Gang, the Leaper Riders, a mutant dingo named Craver with the power to fly, and, very unexpectedly, Professor Moriarty, Sherlock Holmes's arch-nemesis. The series is a great mix of the old and the new, the longtime genre of Western mixed with the adventure of space. You may think that all 65 episodes ending with a moral lesson for kids meant that the show was not taking itself too seriously, but instead, the show did an outstanding job focusing on the severity of the issues it undertook. One particular instance was the episode The Price, which focused on drug abuse and showed a young boy passing away due to a drug overdose. Also, with a Native American protagonist, the show was far beyond its times in terms of representation of minorities, and not to forget the amazing sound effects, memorable theme song, and thought-provoking stories which make this series a must-watch. Mask, 1985 to 1986. Mask, the animated series, was based on a toy line debuting in the same year as the series. The name, Mask, stood for Mobile Armored Strike Command, a special task force led by the main character Matt Tracker. Matt operated the transforming armored vehicles in his fight against the terrorist organization Venom, standing for Vicious Evil Network of Mayhem. Both the groups used super-powered helmets in their battle, which were called masks. Most of Venom's plans focused on gaining riches through various illegal means, such as robbery, counterfeiting, stealing historical artifacts, kidnapping, and extortion, and it was up to the Mask team to make sure that none of the plans became successful. The series ran for a total of 75 episodes, which included a second season of only 10 episodes that focused on auto racing instead of crime fighting, a shift that was followed in the toy line in 1987. This shift was made to the plot by showing Venom rigging races instead of going for their usual tactics of robbery and stealing. Though the series was made particularly to advertise the toy line, the series is still rich in nostalgia and comfort for viewers who want to experience the action-packed story. Occasionally falling into the trap of being a little predictable, the series does manage to overcome the issue in most episodes. One particular thing to note about the series is the unique idea of vehicles turning into powerful weapons, as well as secondary vehicles too, a fun concept that can still be enjoyed to date. Inhumanoids, 1986, based on another toy line released by Hasbro in 1986, along with production backing from Marvel Entertainment with animation provided by Toei. Inhumanoids had the whole recipe for being a masterpiece with a tight-knit 13-episode count. Initially released as a movie, which was later cut down to the first 5 episodes of the series, its popularity led to an additional 8 episodes to be produced. The series followed the resurrection of the Inhumanoid, Tendril, a plant monster who was found encased in amber by a government-funded geological research team known as the Earth Corps. This led to a corrupt industrialist named Blackthorn Shore to search and release a second Inhumanoid, Decompose, a giant undead monster. Decompose soon released Tendril from his deep sleep, leading the two monsters creating havoc in the city, while the Earth Corps took up the responsibility to defeat the two Inhumanoids. This was made more impossible once the Inhumanoids destroyed the Earth Corps' base, while Blackthorn manipulated the senators to cut down on the Earth Corps funds. Finding an unlikely ally in the form of Blackthorn's sister, Sandra Shore, and a rock-bodied Mutor species known as Granites, the Earth Corps restarted their mission under their leader, Dr. Herman Herc Armstrong, to not only defeat the two Inhumanoids but also their leader, Metlar. Dealing with ancient creatures, the series was inspired by popular Lovecraftian horrors and followed a serialized narrative instead of an episodic one. Inhumanoids is one of the most popular series with a tight-knit story that can make the viewers experience the fullest potential of the wacky 80s cartoons. Captain N, the Game Master, 1989. With the popularity of video games, it wasn't a surprise that it would be used as the backdrop for a series. The series followed Kevin Keene, a teen based in Northridge, California, who was transported to the world of video games known as Videoland along with his dog, Duke. When the duo arrived at Videoland, it was almost conquered by the villain, Mother Brain, along with her minions. As per an ancient prophecy, Kevin was destined to be the hero known as Captain N, the Game Master, and protect Videoland. Initially part of the N team was the acting ruler of Videoland, Princess Lana, and various other popular video game characters, Mega Man, Simon Belmont, and Kid Icarus. Though initially undermined by the team, Kevin got his chance to prove his skills to the N team after Princess Lana got kidnapped. The second season featured another new addition to the N team in the form of a human-sized computer, Game Boy. Popular video game characters like Donkey Kong, Dr. Light from Mega Man, the Count from Castlevania, and the characters from the Legend of Zelda cartoons also made frequent recurring appearances, aiding the heroes. As one can expect, just like the heroes, villains like the Eggplant Wizard from Kid Icarus, Dr. Willy from Mega Man, Malkill from Wizards and Warriors, and King Hippo from Punch-Out! Also made appearances helping Mother Brain in her evil plans. Despite the amazing concept, the only drawback for the series was its declining animation quality with each season. But don't worry, this won't stop you from enjoying the series. Captain N is the perfect series for classic video game lovers, seeing their favorite heroes as well as villains from different games coming together in one world. Challenge of the GoBots, 1984. It is quite obvious by now that the 80s cartoon's primary motive was to promote toy lines, with this one based on the GoBots by Tonka. In the series mythology, human-like organic beings known as Go-Beings lived on a planet called Gobotron. The peace of the planet was disrupted once a terrorist faction called the Renegades started a civil war on the planet as a means to gain power under the leadership of the Master Renegade. This led to the terrorist group even sabotaging an asteroid, leading to its collision with Gobotron, almost rendering the population extinct. But the people were saved thanks to the last engineer, who, using his genius intellect, got mechanical enhancements and also transferred the brains of the injured species into mechanical bodies, creating the GoBots. The new body also came with its own new ability to transform into vehicles once a GoBot ran through a device called the Modifier. Once the Master Renegade stole the last engineer's ship to leave the planet, the last engineer went into suspended animation underneath the planet. Towards the end of the 20th century, even planet Earth became involved in the conflict, and on the side of the heroes, Leader 1 found his friend and lieutenant, Turbo, being almost destroyed in the ongoing war against the Renegades. The series then followed Leader 1's search for the last engineer to repair Turbo. With Master Renegade also making a return to the planet during this time, the plot of the series was nothing short of an adventure for the viewers. Running for a total of 65 episodes and 2 seasons, it would be easy to compare the series with its more popular counterpart, Transformers. But don't be misguided, as the GoBots comes with a charm of its own. Danger Mouse, 1981 to 1992. For the uninitiated, the popularity of spy fiction was primarily due to the British tales of James Bond, and Danger Mouse went on to parody this exact genre. Just like Agent 007, Danger Mouse was an agent under the British Secret Services, being sent on different missions to save the world along with his hamster sidekick, Ernest Penfold. Danger Mouse's arch-nemesis was the Toad, Baron Silas Greenback, and his criminal organization, who tried their best to dominate the world through unconventional means, such as by creating giant robots or by stealing famous buildings. Accompanying the characters during their adventures was the omnipresent narrator, Isambard Sinclair, who would engage in conversations and sometimes even go on a tangent about his own private life. During its 10-season run, the series received 11 nominations from the British Academy of Film and Television Arts aka BAFTA Awards, and even spawned a large franchise comprising comics, video games, audiobooks, merchandise, and a spin-off called Count Duckula that ran for 4 seasons. Danger Mouse even got another revival for 2 seasons in 2015 comprising 99 episodes, an increased episode count compared to the original series. With a stellar voice cast, particularly of English actor David Jason, who voiced both the titular character as the narrator, and well-written plots, the series is definitely a must-watch for fans of spy thrillers, with the series being available on streaming currently. Heathcliff and the Cadillac Cats, 1984 to 1985. Based on the Heathcliff comic strip, the 1984 series followed the adventures of the titular cat along with other characters from the comic. With each episode divided into 2 different segments, the second segment followed the adventures of the Cadillac Cats, which included the characters Hector, Mungo, Wordsworth, Cleo, and Riff Raff as they searched for food or got caught up in one of Riff Raff's various easy money-making schemes. The ending segment would also provide the viewers with various pet care tips. Running for a total of 86 episodes and 2 seasons, Heathcliff and the Cadillac Cats brings to life the classic comic characters along with introducing several new ones in an easy-to-watch series with an entertaining experience. If the wacky adventures of cats are what you need for a fun afternoon and some nostalgia, then this series will definitely be your cup of tea. Rambo, The Force of Freedom, 1986. Another animated series based on a popular character, this series was created following the particular popularity of John Rambo's character in the 2 film adaptations of David Morrell's book. The series followed John Rambo leading a special unit known as the Force of Freedom after a special request from Colonel Sam Troutman. The unit consisted of Edward Turbo Hayes, an African-American mechanical engineer and also a race car driver, Catherine and Cat Taylor, an Asian-American military personnel, and also a master of disguises, gymnastics, as well as martial arts. Under Rambo's leadership, the unit traveled all around the world preventing the nefarious plans of General Warhawk and his paramilitary terrorist organization, SAVAGE, standing for Specialist Administrators of Vengeance, Anarchy, and Global Extortion. Debuting as a 5-part miniseries similar to Inhumanoids, the series was extended to run daily for 60 more episodes. A true product of its time, Rambo, The Force of Freedom, repackages the popular character of Rambo into a team leader fighting terrorism in a more child-friendly manner. Though fans of Rambo may find the character to be more tame in comparison to his film counterpart due to less violent kills, rest assured the character of Rambo is still pretty consistent in the series. The World of David the Gnome, 1985 to 1986. Based on the book The Secret Book of Gnomes by Dutch author Will Huygen, The World of David the Gnome was originally a Spanish series dubbed in English. The series followed David, a gnome doctor who traveled the world with his wife, Lisa, helping out animals and other gnomes while avoiding the attacks of malevolent trolls. Along the way, the viewers also got to know various facts about gnomes and their world, such as different varieties of gnomes that existed in their world: house, farm, garden, forest, dune, Siberia, and also the nomadic gypsy gnomes, who were mostly seen as lesser by the other gnomes. Gnomes usually had a lifespan of 400 years, with both David and Lisa being 399 years old, making them one of the oldest gnomes alive. Upon death, the gnomes would transform into a tree, thus making the gnomes the protector of trees who were their ancestors. Gnomes possessed the powers of telepathy and mind control, with David also having mastery over hypnosis and acupuncture being a doctor. Running for a total of 26 episodes, the series featured an excellent dubbing cast with positive messages for its viewers to show love towards nature and all living things. Though the theme and plot may seem more appropriate only for children, the premise leaves any viewer with a feeling of love and peace. A definitive watch for any viewer who is particularly looking for a series based around gnomes and for a story with positive messages. Turbo Teen, 1984. You can bet on the fact that being a teen in an 80s cartoon would definitely get you into great adventures, maybe even give you access to a new power. But what if that power was to transform into a sports car? A similar thing occurred to the protagonist of this series, Brett Matthews, who, while driving one night in a thunderstorm, accidentally crashed into a secret government lab. Here, Brett and his red sports car were exposed to a molecular beam created by a scientist known as Dr. Chase for Caldwell, a government agent. This led to Brett and his sports car fusing together with extreme heat, causing Brett to transform into the red sports car, while extreme cold would change him back into his human form. Using this superpower, Brett, accompanied by his girlfriend, Patty, a freelance reporter, his best friend Alex, a mechanic, and his dog Rusty, decided to go for crime-fighting adventures together and solve mysteries. A recurring subplot in the 13 episodes of the series would be Brett, Dr. Chase, or Caldwell trying to find a way to cure Brett's condition. A mysterious driver called the Dark Rider served as a recurring villain in the series, trying his best to capture Brett in his monster truck to find the secret behind Brett's powers. Brett's classmates, Eddie and Flip, served as secondary villains with their evil plans. The concept of the series, as bizarre as it may seem, is quite a unique one, and for anyone looking for a crazy but just as adventurous a story, then Turbo Teen is the show for you. The Super Mario Bros. Super Show and The Legend of Zelda, 1989. With the video game boom taking place, the animated series of that time had to use two of the most popular games. Primarily named after the Super Mario Bros. Game, the series had a guest segment featuring WWF Hall of Fame wrestler Captain Lou Albano portraying Mario and actor Danny Wells portraying Mario's brother, Luigi. This live-action segment parodied the sitcoms of the 80s as the two brothers dealt with the issues that came with running a plumbing business in Brooklyn. But if you are wondering why we are talking about live action, don't worry. It was just a small guest segment followed up by the animated adventures of Mario and Luigi. Voiced by the same actors, they helped Princess Peach, who was known as Princess Toadstool back then, and Toad to stop King Koopa from conquering the Mushroom Kingdom. The plot of the episodes usually featured situations as well as characters from Nintendo games, along with parodying films, books, or historical events. Certain inconsistencies were shown, such as when, unlike in the game, Mario gained fire powers through a superstar instead of a fire flower, whereas a superstar granted temporary invincibility to Mario. Now, this was usually the format of the episodes from Monday to Thursday, as on Friday, the episode focused on characters from the Legend of Zelda video games. Princess Zelda and the hero Link were usually shown protecting their kingdom of Hyrule from Ganon, who possessed the Triforce of Power. Most of the episodes focused on Ganon or his minions trying to take over Hyrule, steal the Triforce of Wisdom from Zelda, or just outright kidnapping her. Zelda, though, acted as the damsel in distress only sometimes, being self-sufficient most of the time, because of which Link, acting like a self-centered teen, tried his best to convince Zelda that he deserved a kiss for his heroic actions. The fairy princess, Sprite, also made recurring appearances to help the duo, but mostly showed hatred towards Zelda as Sprite saw her as competition because of her affection towards Link. Running for a total of 65 episodes, with 13 episodes focusing on the Legend of Zelda characters, the Super Mario Bros. Super Show was noted to be the first official Mario cartoon. Though fans of the two video games may find characters to be portrayed a little differently compared to their video game counterparts, the series never failed to entertain its audience with its parodies and cliché but hilarious plot. Cops, Central Organization of Police Specialists, 1988. This one's another 80s cartoon set in the future, and the backdrop of the year 2020 on top of that. In the series, the Empire City Police Department faced a tough time trying to stop Brandon Big Boss Babel and his gang of criminals. In need of assistance, Mayor Davis called in Special Agent Baldwin P. Vess also known by his codename Bulletproof from the FBI. Unfortunately, though, Bulletproof faced serious injuries and had to be hospitalized after a run-in with the henchmen of Big Boss. Gaining a new cybernetic bulletproof torso, which would allow Bulletproof to walk again, he requested assistance from police officer PJ Longarm O'Malley and rookie officer Danny Hardtop Brooks. Together, the duo recruited the best law enforcers from around the country to form the best law enforcement agency with Bulletproof as their founder and commander, naming the agency Central Organization of Police Specialists, or COPS. The newly formed team thus started on the mission to thwart many of Big Boss's nefarious schemes and take down their criminal gang. Running for a total of 65 episodes, some of the episodes also featured criminals that were unaffiliated with Big Boss, such as the Bugman, who used an insect-controlling device, Johnny Yuma, former partner of COPS member Sundown, who turned into an outlaw, Addictem, a drug dealer denied from being a part of Big Boss's gang, and many more. The cartoon series had a much wider appeal compared to the toy and comic counterparts, all because of the delightful combinations of lighthearted but complex stories with humor, action, and unique characters with distinctive personalities, making this one of the most popular series to come out of the 80s and definitely worth a view. Snorks, 1984 to 1989. Trying to recapture the success of the Smurfs franchise, in 1984, the Snorks animated series premiered. The series followed the race of these small, colorful beings who lived happily in the underwater location as well as their home, Snorkland. The name of the Snork, as per the cartoon, was given because when a Snork was excited, it led to their tube creating a snork sound. These creatures also possessed what came to be known as snorkels on their heads. This particularly helped the Snorks propel swiftly through the water. Despite running for a total of 65 episodes and 4 seasons, the series failed to garner the same popularity as the Smurfs. Even though the show may not be as successful, the series featured a vibrantly colorful group of characters getting into silly antics in their underwater world and helping each other get out of it. The series is worth giving a try if you are into cartoons similar to the Smurfs. Dino Riders, 1988. Another limited animated series created to promote a toy line, the series featured a group of peaceful superhumans known as the Valorians from the planet Valoria. Their planet was attacked by the predatory and evil group of Rulons, a species of humanoid animals. This led to a group of Valorians under the leadership of the Valorian Questar to escape the invasion on a spaceship with the particular feature of Space-Time Energy Projector, or STEP. But their plan went wrong once the ship malfunctioned and sent back the group in time to Earth during the Age of Dinosaurs. Hot on their trail and jumping back in time along with them was the Rulon flagship Dreadlock, led by the warlord Krulos. The Valorians, upon their arrival, were able to become friends with the dinosaurs using their amplified mental projector, or AMP necklaces, that allowed them to telepathically communicate. Unlike them, though, the Rulons used brainwashing devices called the Brain Box to control the dinosaurs to their own will. Assisted by dinosaurs on both sides, the Rulons and the Valorians got into battle. Upon the initial defeat of the Rulons, the Valorians took up the titular name of Dino Riders. Being a promotional series, it had only 14 episodes with a serialized narrative and a definitive ending. The series also featured a stellar voice cast, such as Dan Gilvezan as Questar, the voice of Spider-Man from Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, as well as Bumblebee from the 1984 Transformers series, and Frank Welker as Krulos, the voice of Fred Jones from the Scooby-Doo franchise. Dino Riders is a must-watch for every dinosaur and sci-fi lover, as the series gives you the best of both. Although the lack of chronology maintained in terms of different eras of dinosaurs, as well as animals living together, may be a sore point, the narrative and action-packed episodes make up for it nicely. Mr. T, 1983 to 1985. 80s Saturday morning cartoons were one of a kind, and Mr. T was no different. The series featured the titular character voiced by the actor Mr. T himself, as he coached a gymnastics team along with traveling the world to solve mysteries. Among the gymnastics team, a special focus was given to 4 members: Jeff Harris, a wise guy with a large ego; Woody Daniels, Jeff's friendly rival who hoped to become a lawyer in the future; Robin O'Neill, Mr. T's second-in-command; and Kim Nakamura, a Japanese girl with a photographic memory. The series ran for a total of 30 episodes with 3 seasons, with each episode opening with a live-action segment explaining the premise and a book ending with a moral lesson for the viewers. The series was a mix of oddball humor paired with great action and educational lessons. Despite the 80s cheesiness, the series featured an earnest coach who cared deeply for his team and also gained success during its airing, leading to crossovers and spin-offs of the franchise. For all the mystery and action-adventure fanatics, Mr. T is not going to disappoint. The Wuzzles, 1985, a Walt Disney Pictures Television Animation Group production based on a pitch by Michael Eisner. The Wuzzles, also the name of the species of main characters, followed these short, colorful, and rounded creatures who are a mix of 2 animals along with wings on their back. The series primarily focused on the 6 main Wuzzles: Bumblelion, half bumblebee and half lion; Ellaroo, half elephant and half kangaroo; Butterbear, half butterfly and half bear; Moozle, half moose and half seal; Hoppopotamus, half rabbit and half hippopotamus; and Reineke, half rhinoceros and half monkey. The unique blend of species was not only limited to the Wuzzles, as everything featured in the series was shown to be a mix of 2 real-world objects, such as the fruit appleberries, the telephonograph, and even their luxury home, the castle scraper. The series also had 3 main villains: Crocosaurus, half crocodile and half dinosaur, and his 2 sidekicks, Brat, half boar and half dragon, and Flizzard, half frog and half lizard. Despite a successful first season of 13 episodes, the series ended up being canceled following the sudden passing of voice actor Bill Scott, who voiced Moozle. Despite the simple premise, the series is a colorful and imaginative blend meant to invoke happiness for the viewers. For the viewers who cannot get enough of cute cartoons to watch, the Wuzzles are worth a watch. Marvelous verdict. The 80s saw the success of numerous cartoons, some made particularly to promote toys, some to give an animated life to unique ideas. We're talking about dinosaurs that lived in the modern day to inhumane monsters hidden inside the earth. This list of the most unique cartoons catered to the varying tastes of the audience is definitely worth a watch at least once. Don't wait anymore and give all of them a try right away. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe out there. Thanks, everyone.